Good evening. Tropical Depression Querubin weakens into a low-pressure area on Wednesday afternoon, December 18, according to Pag-asa. Based on Pag-asa's latest weather bulletin, Querubin weakened into a low-pressure area at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. The state weather agency last spotted the now low-pressure area at 220 kilometers east of Hinatuan, Surigao del Sur, or 275 kilometers east of Surigao City, Surigao del Norte. It is moving northward at 20 kilometers per hour. Pag-asa lifted all tropical cyclone wind signals. However, Pag-asa warns that the low-pressure area will traverse over Mindanao, Sulu Sea, and Palawan on Thursday, December 19 until Sunday, December 22. Pag-asa further says that a possible redevelopment into a tropical depression may occur once the low-pressure area reaches the West Philippine Sea. Meanwhile, Pag-asa earlier said that no tropical cyclone is expected to enter the Philippine area of responsibility until next week. Jane Veloso, who was sent home after spending 14 years on death row in Indonesia for alleged drug trafficking, is appealing to President Bongbong Marcos to grant her clemency. Veloso arrived at the Philippines on early Wednesday, December 18, a week before Christmas Day. In a short interview with the media on the same day, Veloso says she is very happy to return to the Philippines. She is also appealing to President Bongbong Marcos to grant her clemency.
Napakasaya ko! Nauwi na ako dito sa bansa natin. Ano ang pakiusap mo sa Pangulo? At pamusap ko sa Pangulo, sana mabigyan niya ng compliment. Yes.
Aside from Veloso's request, a lawmaker filed a resolution urging the House of Representatives to call on Marcos to grant Veloso's clemency. Clemency means the conditional release of a prisoner from the correctional institution after serving the minimum period of prison sentence. The convoy transporting Veloso arrived at the Correctional Institute for Women in Mandaluyong City at around 7 a.m. According to the Bureau of Corrections, Veloso will be mandatorily housed at the Reception and Diagnostic Center of the Correctional Institute for Women for a 5-day quarantine and 55-day orientation, diagnostic evaluation, and initial security classification. Veloso's return follows an agreement between Jakarta and Manila, which was announced by Marcos and the Department of Foreign Affairs on November 19. Veloso was sentenced to death in 2010 after she was caught carrying 2.6 kilograms of heroin at Yogyakarta Airport in Indonesia on April 25 of the same year. Veloso maintained she was unaware of the contents of her luggage as it was only handed to her by her recruiters, Julius Nacanilao and Maria Cristina Serio. The Department of Justice says it would weigh the totality of the circumstances in recommending executive clemency for Jane Veloso, an overseas Filipino worker sentenced to death in Indonesia for heroin possession in 2010. In an interview with Teleradyo on Wednesday, December 18, Justice Undersecretary Jesse Andres says the DOJ, together with the Board of Pardons and Parole, will look into the matter of granting clemency to Veloso. Andres adds that they are responsible in providing recommendations to President Bongbong Marcos in granting an absolute or conditional pardon. According to Andres, it will take some time to process the recommendation, but he says that they will consider circumstances that Veloso was framed and that she was a victim of human trafficking. Andres explains that Veloso would still have to serve detention in the Philippines as part of the government's agreement with Indonesia. He assures the public that the Philippines still has the right to enforce its laws concerning the grant of executive clemency. Andres likewise emphasizes that the DOJ respects the laws of Indonesia. Veloso, who was detained in Indonesia for 14 years, arrived in the Philippines on Wednesday, December 18. Upon her arrival, she was transported to the Correctional Institute for Women in Mandaluyong City at around 7 a.m. The Bureau of Corrections previously said that Veloso would undergo the mandatory 5-day quarantine protocol for newly committed persons deprived of liberty at the Correctional Institute for Women. During the quarantine period, Veloso will be placed in a designated quarantine cell for medical observation to assess her physical and mental condition. Andres says Veloso's safety would be prioritized during her detention at the Correctional Institute for Women. Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. is not open to a ceasefire with the Communist Party of the Philippines and its armed wing, the New People's Army, after the group said it would not declare one during this year's holiday season. In a statement on Wednesday, December 18, Teodoro says any ceasefire with the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, and National Democratic Front is a ceasefire against terrorists and criminals. Teodoro adds that the ceasefire is a last-ditch measure of a Jurassic group to find relevance in the national political ecosystem. Teodoro's statement came after the Communist Party of the Philippines said that they cannot declare a holiday truce in the face of President Bongbong Marcos' regime's relentless war of suppression, offensive military operations, and imposition of martial law in the countryside. According to the group, the Armed Forces of the Philippines is presently undertaking military operations across the country against their party and the New People's Army. The group added that the AFP, in order to boost their public image, has intensified its war of disinformation by making the ludicrous claim that the New People's Army has only one weakened guerrilla front. Last Tuesday, December 17, AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla said there is only one weakened New People's Army guerrilla front left in the country, and the CPP-NPA no longer has the capability to stage major operations. A weakened guerrilla front means it can no longer implement its programs like recruitment and generating resources for the armed struggle as opposed to active guerrilla fronts. The Department of Health says the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation Board of Directors canceled the 37.5 million peso spending for the agency's 30th anniversary, citing financial responsibility. In a statement on Wednesday, December 18, the DOH says the proposal for the marketing and promotional expenses of PhilHealth's anniversary only reached the PhilHealth board on Monday, December 16, and was immediately vetoed. According to DOH, the board of directors decided to cancel the proposed procurement to save government funds and ensure its proper allocation for the benefits of PhilHealth members. In the same statement, Chairman of the PhilHealth Board of Directors, Health Secretary Teodoro says that the board reviews and decides on proposals coming from the PhilHealth management, such as the marketing and promotional expenses. The proposed 37.5 million pesos anniversary spending includes umbrellas, perforated mesh stickers, tote bags, anniversary and marketing shirts, jackets, katsa bags, and button pins. State-run health insurer has denied allegations that it allocated 138 million pesos for its Christmas party, saying that the funds were intended for its 30th anniversary celebration. Health reform advocate Dr. Tony Liachon posted on social media a list of supposed Christmas party activities and expenditures and said that PhilHealth's leadership was abusive for not spending the funds wisely. Meanwhile, the DOH previously announced that PhilHealth's 284 billion pesos budget for 2025 was approved, emphasizing that its funds are enough to sustain operations despite getting zero subsidy for next year. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.